This video is an overview of the production process for the ERPsim extended manufacturing game. It also sets you up for SAP Lab 4. If you have stumbled across this video, do be aware of the fact that it is complementary to the supplemental ERPsim SAP Labs and textbook. It presumes that you have SAP experience, hopefully with ERPsim itself, and you've watched the introductory video that goes along with this. I don't plan on setting you up for any of the terms or the procedures, the transactions that I'm talking about here, so if you just happened upon this, may not have a whole lot of value for you. This video will cover the production process, an overview of the ERPsim extended manufacturing game production process. I'll show you how it matches up to the job aid, and we'll go from forecasting to production and monitoring the progress along the way. If you're completing SAP Lab 4 within your course, this is exactly the process for the lab. I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit, and then I'll go into actual producing, just showing you the best practices for it. So the lab itself gives vague instructions. By watching this video and practicing, you'll be able to see the real instructions, the clear instructions, as how they might match up with the vague instructions. So you may want to take notes, and again, the supplemental textbook does follow along as well. I'm going to start here with the job aid. So this is the extended manufacturing game job aid, and here's SAP logged on for the extended manufacturing game. The first part is to create the sales forecast, the planned independent requirements, the replenishment levels, and if you've read through the textbook, you know that there's a whole section 2, about the forecast itself and how to create one. This is going to kind of jump right off from that section. So using the instructions here, I've done MD61. It says select product group, and then it's $$$-F. That's your company letter twice. I'm company X, so XX-F, and then enter. It says right here, enter the forecasted quantities in the second date column. So it's always going to be column 2. It does not matter which round we're in, what the date actually is. It's always in column 2. So I am going to use, so as you know from section 2 of the textbook, the sales forecast, there is a nice little way of calculating the forecast, and then MRP is going to round up to the nearest 1,000. So it's going to take it to 37,000. So I'm just going to use that. When you put in the forecast, this looks like Excel. It's not. So you can't maneuver the same way you do within Excel. One thing that I recommend once you typed in the replenishment level that you like, the forecast, is you press enter. And by pressing enter, it formats it so you can tell where the comma is. I actually had this happen on an exam. I had a set of students put in 100,000 and they clicked save and didn't realize it was actually 1 million. So make sure you click enter to kind of validate. Nothing happens until you click save. So I can see for sure I have 37,000. In starting, just like it says in section 2, in starting this, I recommend instead of doing all 12 products or just one product, that you do just 6 of the products. You can choose any 6. I use the first 6 because it's the first 6 I got to. You can use the bottom 6. You can use 3 of these, 3 of those, 1 of these, 1 of 5 of those, whatever. I just did 37,000 of the first 6. Click save, and this has now set us up for manufacturing 37,000 of the half-kilogram boxes. So that is the replenishment level we've come up with. So this replenishment level is from MRP run to MRP run. This is not month to month, round to round, day to day. It's literally every time I run MRP, I'm telling the system I want 37,000 of that product in stock. So the next thing we're going to do is run MRP, and that's MD01. This is my favorite transaction because the instructions are enter, 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 enter. I'm jumping ahead. Enter, enter. I pressed enter too quickly. It's going to give you a bunch of things as a response here. What it says here is not important. I've never seen MRP calculate incorrectly. Understanding what it's calculating can be challenging, but it doesn't. I've never seen it calculate incorrectly. MRP plans 2 different things, the procurement, so the purchase of the raw materials, and it also plans the production. You cannot produce the materials, the finished goods, until you have the raw materials in stock, so we have to complete the procurement side first. So we run MRP, and now we want on the job aid to convert our planned purchase orders, our purchase requisitions, into actual purchase orders to submit them to our vendor. That's ME59N. ME59N. And the instructions are simply to click execute. And once we do that, we can see, there it is. I have 6 purchase requisitions for 6 different food raw materials that are going to Food Broker Inc. This is the one consolidated purchase order. And I have 2 different purchase requisitions that have been converted to this purchase order for Continental Printing. This is the boxes and the bags. So at this point, I can't convert anything. I can't run any kind of production because I don't have the raw materials. And I can prove that by going to the next step inappropriately. So the next step is collective conversion of planned orders. This is planned production orders. And it's click execute. And you can see that I have these planned orders. I have 37 of each. If I click nut and click convert, it doesn't work. I got an X. It tells me it couldn't convert, and I know it's because I don't have the raw materials. So the next step in the process, the production process, is to wait. You need to wait for your raw materials to be delivered. So we use the purchase order tracking report, ZME2N. And the simulation has not started yet, so it's not going to give us anything except that it's in there. We have 2 purchase orders. These are the purchase orders that we just converted. And it shows unconfirmed and not scheduled. So we don't know anything about the status, and we don't know when they're coming in because the simulation has not started. We can do all of this before the simulation starts. You can do it between rounds. You can run this every day if you want. It'll mess things up if you do it every day, but you can run it every day. The purchase order tracking will tell you when things are coming in. So I will now start the simulation, and pretty quickly we should see it's expected round 1, day 2. And this is a nice thing about the manufacturing game. The lead time can be anywhere between 1 and 5 days, but the first few days of the simulation, it's always 1 day. So pretty quickly we got our things so we can actually get started. We can jump into making money and working on our strategy. I had the simulation set up to run very fast right now, so you wouldn't receive it quite that quickly in time, but you would actually receive it by day 2 if you run this beforehand. Just make sure that it's still set here. Okay, so it's saying it's day 3, but we're actually still in day 1. I just have it paused, so it's off a little bit. So now we know we have our stuff. We can now actually go and convert. So here we go, and I do have it paused. So we'll see how this all works here. You know what? I'm going to do this separately. I'm not going to do select all. I'm going to choose just nut. So it checked the availability. It converted it. So it went from planned order 21 to actual order 12. And we can see, because we just did this, collective conversion of planned orders, we can look at the production schedule and see ZCOOIS. This is the only place you can see production. There it goes. So you can see planned order 12 was converted to planned to production order 12 over there. Production order number 12, and of course it's 100000012, but we just refer to it as 12 here. It's 37, just like it was here. 37. That was our initial replenishment level, our initial sales forecast. You can see that it was released. It says on round 1, day 3, there's a start and a finish. This is the target for 37,000. None have been confirmed at this point. So we can actually convert another one. So planned order 22 has gone to number 13. Refresh here, and I can see order number 13. It's still not scheduled. You know, we know that it's been released. And for the rest of these, I'll just go ahead and select all and convert. And refresh, they're all in here, 37 of each one. It's all showing round 1, day 3. I'll click continue on the simulation, and we'll see it's already done 24,000. So there are 24,000 is the capacity, the daily capacity. This is 37,000, so we know it's going to go from day 3 to day 4. There's 8 hours of setup time between the two because there's a new product here. There's a mandatory setup time between products. Anytime you're switching between one product and another, there's setup time. Even if you're switching from 0.5 kilogram nut to 1 kilogram nut, there is mandatory setup time. You can see here that the target is 37,000. We have 24,000 confirmed. This is the only place you can see what has been confirmed. I'll go ahead and refresh there. So if you are looking at the inventory report, looking for what's happening, you can already see I have 37,000 that I know I had available, but I only have 25,000 left. That means I've sold those already. So if all you're doing is watching the inventory report, that's not telling you the full story. That's not telling you your sales. That's not showing full confirmation. So you can see I had 3,000 of the blueberry. It's only at 699. That means those sold already. Refresh both of these here. 27,000 has gone through. Look, I've already sold 20,000 of the nut and about 6,000, 5,000 of the blueberry. Looks like another day has gone by. Let's see what we have here. And the next time I get a schedule update, there we go. And try to pause this. See if I can match it up without selling anything. So we have a half kilogram strawberry muesli. 37,000 is the target. We have 6,000 confirmed. Let me make sure that it stays there. Looks like it has. Let's see what we have for inventory here. Oh my, we already sold 3,003 of them. I'm going to open up one of the sales reports. So this is how you can track to see your sales, and they're doing small quantities here, so it's not going to be as easy to show you the 3,000 in sales. But you can see that there's some of the strawberry has already gone through, and this is all round 1, day 7. This is what's already sold, and this came through. It looks like it came through about day 6, day 7. See if we can refresh that. No, it's at 30,000. Oh my. Oh, okay. What is happening is I clicked pause and it continued doing its calculations. So this is actually off a little bit. So that's why the sales report is showing so much. Okay, so we'll revise numbers here. We have, okay, just to make sure you understand, I clicked pause on the simulation while it was running some calculations, and I didn't realize that was happening. So this is now the updated version. So the production schedule is showing 30,000 confirmed of strawberry, and our inventory report, there we go, is showing that we have 25,629. So we have obviously sold about 4,000 of those. And our sales order, see, when I was looking at this, I was wondering where the sales were coming from. So many sales. So it's sales on day 7 for strawberry, and none on day 6. So as you're looking at this, this is day 6. There are no strawberry sales in there, and then they took off pretty quickly as soon as we went to day 7. So looking at the sales report, we have west, south, and north. This is how you can actually track your sales for them. And there are ways of consolidating. Let's see if I can easily do this here. Material description. That's all I want, right? And let's jump out of here. I think that I'm wanting, that's what I'm in the wrong spot, that's why. Material description. And we want 500. You know what? I don't know exactly how to type this, so I'm going to do 500 gram strawberry. That should just show me that. Okay, so this is just showing me the 500 gram strawberry. And my guess is if we were to add this up, come on, 4,371 were sold on day 7, and that works out. Okay, let me do this. We had 30,000, and actually I'll get a calculator too, just so we can prove that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing here. So 30,000, and it shows that we have sold 4371. So we should have 25,629 in inventory. 25,629. So this is showing you one of the great things about ERP. All the information is available in real time. Everyone can see everything that they need. So I can see that I'm at 25,629. If I'm only looking at the inventory report, it's not giving me the full story. I have to look at the detailed sales report to see that I sold 4,371 in one day. And then looking at the production schedule to kind of confirm that as well, you can see that it was 30,000 was total that we had. If I were to run MRP right now, which is not best practices, but just to illustrate, so I am not changing the forecast at all, so the forecast is still set for 37,000, which means I'm telling the system, every time I run MRP, I want to make sure that I have 37,000 finished goods. So here we go, running MRP. Converting the purchase requisitions to purchase orders. And I am going to jump ahead of myself just to show you. This is collective conversion of the planned production orders. Okay, so this is where MRP gets weird. When MRP looked at, I want 37,000, I've sold 4,371, there it is, which means that I should be placing an order for 4,371. MRP for Raisin rounded up 4,371 to 16,000. 16,000 is the minimum production order. So MRP calculated 4,371. This product is programmed essentially to automatically round to 16,000. This makes it very difficult to teach MRP because this is not normal. This is it's normal. It's what's supposed to be happening. It's programmed correctly, but it's when we say I want the difference between 37,000 and what I've sold, what I have in stock, what I have available, it should be 4,371, and it bumped up to 16,000. So read through the textbook and also the participants guide to have more information about that. Probably a more clear version of this is this 27,000 order here. So let's see where we are with the inventory report. We should be at about 10,000 for, okay, so the 500 gram nut muesli is at an order of 27,000. You can see we're at 10,293. And this is another place where MRP is a little funny. So 37,000 minus 10,293, 26,707. This product is also programmed to round up to the nearest 1,000. So it's going to, well, it's rounding up to the nearest 1,000. So it went from 26,707 to 27,000. It's automatically ordering enough, and it's also for the raw materials, and it's also ordering, putting together the production orders as well. And that's what these are. These are the planned production orders. So MRP is a challenge if you're actually trying to do the calculation. Again, the textbook does talk about this as well, so there's a whole section about MRP and how the rounding works. But I wanted to show it to you at this point because it does make things weird. It quite honestly makes it difficult to teach MRP. But it actually makes it easier to be productive within the simulation. So we are, just to jump back into where we are within everything, I do have everything paused. I have run MRP, I have converted the purchase requisitions, and we're still on the procurement side. So I jumped ahead here just to prove a point. But what we really want is the purchase order tracking. So this is the most recent one. I have the simulation paused, so it's still unconfirmed, it's still not scheduled. So, and do I have two of these open? I do not. Okay, perfect. And I think I'll use that one once we get there. Okay. So I am going to turn on the simulation, and we'll see when things are updated. In the first maybe 10 days of the simulation, it's 1 day for delivery. So it was put through on day 8, and it's saying it'll be delivered on day 9. That's not how it will be the entire time. You play 4 rounds of this. Once it gets past like the first 10 days, then it's random between 1 and 5 days. So just refreshing. And in case you're wondering, the faster you refresh, the faster it goes. See, I just clicked it a bunch of times and it's delivered. So they're delivered on day 9. So I can now go into conversion of the production orders. Oh, don't go away. Come back. I like you. So we're doing collective conversion of planned orders. So the instructions are to use this and then execute. And I'm just going to select all of those and convert. And then we can look at the production schedule, which I don't have up. Just take that. So there it is. It hasn't been scheduled yet. And this is another one, which obviously if you click it a bunch of times, it'll go faster. There we go. So it's showing that on round 1, day 11, these 3 were released. Looking at this, you can see, and again, it's confirming. So it's showing that on round 1, day 3 through round 1, day 4, 37,000 were the target. 37,000 have been confirmed. It's going through each one of these. It's showing the setup time between them. So we have the original going into Raisin. There's going to be setup time there. Setup time, setup time, setup time. This is a pretty low amount to have. This is a small order. You want that to be up a little higher than that to get your productivity up. So the best practices is to stay ahead of your production. And typically what that means is every time you convert, so every time you do this, you immediately go in and run MRP again. So this is best practices as you convert. And this is a 2-step process. You run MRP, you convert the purchase requisitions, and then there's the person who does this has a lot of hurry up and wait. As you're waiting, here you can see it's day 13, and some of them are being delivered on day 15, and some are being delivered on day 17. So we're past those first 10-ish days where it's 1-day delivery, and it's into the random 1 to 5 days. So what we're looking at here is day 17 is the first time we can actually convert those production orders. So let's look at the production schedule and see how just in time we are. Ooh, we're cutting it close. So day 17 is when our raw materials will arrive, and then this is scheduled to finish on day 17. So this is cutting it very close. We want it to be really a day ahead. So day 16 we would want things to be delivered so that by the time this is finished it goes right into the next one. But that's all right. Illustrating the production process here. Let's see, we can look at the inventory report. This is continuing to change. Something to note here, there are reserved, the raw materials here are reserved for production. So you can see we have stock of 41,000, and 41,000 are already reserved for a production order. We have 800 raisins in stock, not sure where those came from, and 0, oh that's probably, we received some of the, yeah, we received the raw materials, the food raw materials on day 15, so this is updated for that. So, oh, this is perfect. That actually illustrates that well. We've received all of the food raw materials for the production orders that we just ran, but we have not received the boxes and bags yet. So you can see that some of these are reserved, and this will end up matching up to the production schedule report. So this is what we have left here. So it should only be blueberries and wheat and oats that are different. So there's blueberries and wheat and oat. So this is what is required for the rest of this production order right here. If this doesn't make sense yet, that's okay. It will eventually. Okay, so we have everything in stock. I can tell that because the stuff just showed up in the report. There it is. It says it's delivered. And I will go here, collective conversion, and I want to show you something here. I'm going to convert blueberry first. And then I'll convert them all. Look at the production schedule. And actually we'll wait for this to update because it's not showing it yet. Best practices after you've converted all of these is to immediately run MRP again. There it goes. Convert the purchase requisitions to purchase orders and execute. Those are in place. And let's see if this is updated. It has. So I converted blueberry on top of blueberry. So you can see I had an order of 16,000 with an order of 16,000 right next to it. And what that did is it eliminated the setup time. Because these are the same product, we don't have to do setup time between them. So that's strategic conversion of your production. You can see that we now have production running through to round 2, day 2. And if we look at purchase order tracking, oh, look at that. We are not just in time. we're at round 2, day 4 for our raw materials to come in. So we will end up having 2 days where we're not producing. This is the key to getting your production process together. If your productivity is down, if you're missing days, if you have short production runs like these, your productivity won't be high enough. So this initial forecast is good for the initial forecast, but then it looks like you're going to need to update it. So we have the results now for round 1. Let's see where I rank. Look at that! I have 15,000 negative net income, which has turned out to 1.5 million negative for my company valuation. If someone were to invest in my company, they would expect a return of negative 1.5 million euros. So I'm not a good company to invest in. You can see productivity doesn't look too bad at 65% here. That's not too bad for productivity. It could be higher. But the real thing that is killing me is the sales. I don't have that much sales here. And we can see that by looking at inventory report. There it is. I am sitting on a lot of inventory here. So that is on the sales and marketing side. The prices need to be adjusted. The marketing needs to be adjusted. It may be that the product itself, the recipe needs to be adjusted, but in one way or another I need to get things moving. That is not the purpose of this video. I'm just showing you why there's negative net income. To a degree, it is the productivity that's low, but really it ends up being that the sales aren't keeping up with it. So I have started round 2, and what we're going to go for here is I just want to go through the production process a number of times. So while I'm waiting for these to come in, let's do the forecast, and I want to raise that. And I'm raising it because I can see that I have some holes in my production. I'm not selling enough, but I need to be producing. So in that I always want to be producing, it's a sales problem that's happening now, so in order for me to help with everything, to help the company in general, I want to make sure that my sales, my production continues going, and then hopefully sales catches up. So I've raised my sales forecast here, MD61. I've moved it from 37,000 to 18,000, and we're still waiting for our raw materials here. So best practices is to wait until everything is in and then convert. So we want to make sure we have everything in. I will go ahead and set up for my conversion of the production orders. You can see, and this is one of the reasons why I raised my forecast. When I ran it, it came back at 16,000 for each one. That means that if I'm telling it I want 37,000 of each product, that I had less than 16,000 of each sold since the last time I ran MRP. It should be a lot higher than that. So I'm raising the forecast so that I can have more product available for production. There we are, we have it all delivered. I'm not going to be strategic in my conversion. Select all and convert. Immediately run MRP. And this is using the new replenishment level, ME59N. Execute. All of those. And I'll go ahead and go in here. And we'll see the levels are a little bit higher. Should have a few longer production runs. Purchase order tracking, we have day 6 and day 9. Let's see where we are in our production schedule. So at this point I'm staying ahead, and this is the thing. This is why you want to convert and then immediately run MRP. I am expecting my raw materials in round 2, day 9. My last item to be produced is round 2, day 11. I'm staying ahead of my production. That is always your goal. The bad thing is that I have day 3, day 4, and probably some of day 2 and day 5 with nothing going on in here. That's all zero productivity for the day. So if I have 24,000 as my daily capacity, that's 24,000 products I could be producing that could be up for sale. Every day I'm not producing, that's 24,000 products I can't sell later. Every time I convert a small production run like 16,000, I have 8 hours of setup time, and that's 8,000 products I can't actually sell. So I'm trying to reduce that as much as possible. I'm trying to make these be longer and try to get rid of the setup time. So what I could have done here The last one was mixed fruit. I could have put mixed fruit on top of it, and that would have given me another 8,000 capacity here. At this point, we'll see where we are. On day 7, we have the food raw materials delivered. We're still waiting for the boxes and the bags. And again, if you're not sure what all is happening here, this is following the job aid. So I'm working from the forecast, running MRP, which plans the procurement side and the production side. So running MRP based on the replenishment level, converting the purchase requisitions from MRP into purchase orders, and then once the raw materials have arrived, which I believe these have, there they are, then I can do collective conversion of the planned orders, and the instructions are right there on the job aid for each one of these. So there it is. This is what I had. Convert. And best practices, run MRP again. And let's see where we are on our productivity this time. Again, a bunch of orders of 16,000. This is a good indicator. If you're the person running production, if you keep seeing a number of orders for 16,000, that means that sales is not keeping up. This would be an indicator that the forecast needs to be changed. There really isn't a time in which you want to sit around and just wait for sales to keep up, for sales to sell what you've already produced. You always want to be producing. So at this point, I would say, sales, come on, you're not producing. And the forecast would need to be changed. And we probably want to raise it. You don't want to go too high with it, but you want to get it above. So let's say, oh, this will be good. I'm going to do 54,000 for this, and we'll see how MRP reacts to that. Okay, so I've now set the sales forecast for 54,000. We'll see what 54,000 does to MRP. I hope this will work out for us to actually see what... There's two different sides of MRP rounding and also lot sizes. We'll talk about lot sizes after this as well. So I'm showing that everything's coming in on day 15. And on my production schedule, there we go. So that's some good just-in-time there. Day 15, everything's coming in. My last item to be produced is on day 16. If I were strategic in my conversions, I would do mixed fruit, and I don't have any. There were no orders for mixed fruit, which probably means I'm not selling it. And this is the thing, the person who's doing production, who's running this production process, and it would be one person doing it, should be able to see have a pretty good indicator of what's happening with the sales, just based on what's coming through, just on the size of these. So again, lots of 16,000s in a row. Sales is not keeping up. Let's see if we can look at our inventory. And I can tell you the sales department in my company is not working well, so I'm not doing anything at all. So here, I'm sitting on a lot of inventory. So it looks like original, half-kilogram original isn't selling a whole lot. Yeah, it's been, what, 4 days since original was created, and I'm sitting on just about as many as my forecast is set for. Strawberry looks like it's selling well, so this would be another thing to, if you're the production person and you notice these kinds of things. Strawberry is obviously heading out the door. We have lots of sales of those. Look at that, 23,000. So it was something like 22,500, and it rounded up to 23,000. So that's a good seller. And this is, again, I'm not looking at sales reports at all. I can just kind of tell from, if the inventory is really low, it's probably selling, because I can see what's selling here. So we don't have any other original going on, so original is definitely not selling well. And let's see, purchase order tracking, delivered, everything's there. Collective conversion, select all, convert. And best practices is to run MRP immediately. And this is with my new replenishment level. I think I set it for 54,000. So let's see what we have here. So raisin, strawberries doing all right. These 16,000s mean not a whole lot of selling of each of those, but we did get the rate up. 75% productivity is 18,000, so anything over 75% is a good production, is a better production run. Let's see, we have more coming in on day 19. And productivity is well past, so it's a few days over. So this is, again, another good just-in-time for my delivery. We'll see. I probably won't do another round after this. I think we're getting enough information. One of the things that I was looking for with this when I changed it to 54,000, I was hoping that the strawberry or the raisin was selling really well, is the lot size is another piece of it. And you know what? Once I convert this, I'm gonna go ahead and do this now, so you can see it. So going into the forecast, and I'll change strawberry to 150,000. Click enter so you make sure, so I don't have 1.5 million. All right, so then that one is ready once I convert all of these. And how are we doing? Delivered. Okay, select, convert, best practices, run MRP immediately. 59N. And let's see what we have here. Okay, so I switched strawberry, and you can see it's now broken up. There's a 48,000, a 48,000, and a 16,000. So the lot size for all the finished goods is you cannot have an order quantity above 48,000. The funny thing is that if we have 48,000, 48,000, and then 100 left over, the 100 left over is rounded up to 16,000. So again, MRP, it's confusing trying to teach it and how the calculations work, but just realize 16,000 is the minimum lot size. It will always round up to 16,000 no matter what the actual order is. And the lot size, the max, is 48,000. Now I can convert all three of these on top of each other by doing this, and then I have the long production run. But just realize that 48,000 is the max, and anything over 48,000 that is below 16,000 will round up to 16,000. So if you have an order for 48,001, you'll have an order for 48,000 and an order for 16,000. So I think that's as far as I'm going to go. We can see my end of round results here. I finally have positive net income. My productivity went down though, those holes I had. But it looks like some of the sales picked up. Maybe I was out of stock of strawberry a lot and finally it's in stock. Who knows? But this is still pretty low. 77,000 at the end of round 2 is pretty low. My company valuation looks good, 3.8 million. It's positive. That's the most important part. But this is certainly this company has a lot to do. So sales aren't that high, total sales aren't that high. This is probably where you would be in one round if you're actually keeping up with the sales part of it. So there's the production process. Again, don't worry about having to memorize how to get through these transactions. It's more so watching this to get the production process down, to understand what's happening, and realize that the job aid will actually walk you through everything. So forecast, MRP, convert the procurement part of MRP into actual purchase orders, and then the production, taking the planned production orders and putting them into actual production orders, and then the reports that go along with it. So again, work on the production process and watch for future videos that will get more into the strategies working in some of these other aspects here.